Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our NIS2 Connect and Share event, where we will present Siphon version 2025 for you all today, and where we will give an update on 1 year of NIS2. I think it's a year where we can celebrate 1 year of NIS2 because I think the implementation is running quite smoothly, and I'm more than happy to give you an overview on this. We are happy, first of all, to welcome almost 1,000 subscribed people to this webinar. We saw that we have people in the supply chain, important entities, and essential entities around the table. So everybody's welcome, and you will all get some information out of this webinar. What's the program of the webinar? We will first start with a presentation of Siphon 2025 by Dirk, and in the second phase, we're going to give you an overview of NIS2 incident handling and an exchange of best practices. Of course, this would not be a Connect and Share event if you couldn't share your experiences or you couldn't ask any questions. Afterwards, we will have our famous breakout rooms for Q&As on the different topics where you can easily jump in and out using the right buttons. We know, of course, from previous sessions that some of the people don't have the possibility to join the breakout rooms, and they can use the Q&A session where we also man people to answer questions in writing. In the breakout rooms, we can do this orally, which is more practical and more interactive. Now, NIS2 after 1 year, where are we in Belgium? I think we are not doing that bad. We registered 1,500 essential entities and 2,500 important entities. Although we still seem to be missing in some areas a bit of entities. We think the vast majority of the entities are already registered, and that's good news because in that way we can also provide the services through our Safe on Web at Work portal. Next to that, the implementation is going as planned, more or less. What we see is that from sample checks is that we have 75% of the entities who already chose their framework and are already implementing their framework, whether they chose for Siphon or ISO 27001. We still see we see a majority of entities choosing for Siphon, which is perhaps also the reason why there's a lot of people logging in today. Next to that, we can say that the accreditation procedures for the CAPs, which are important for the essential entities, is also going according to plan. We expect to have enough capacity, at least by April 2026, to perform the required conformity assessments for the essential entities. Looking at the incident notification, we are also starting to see the results of all your effects, and I think I want to emphasize what a joint effort we are doing in Belgium today. We see the first effects of the entities that are implementing the measures, not only through lesser incidents, but more already to the lesser impact of incidents, which is a very important conclusion. Of course, to do a mathematical analysis and to talk about significance of these measures or of these figures, we still have not enough data, but at least we can show you what we are already seeing. What we're also experiencing is that the incident notification is well accepted, certainly with the essential entities, while the important entities are a little bit lagging behind. So when we look at figures, we think that there is more reluctance with the important entities to notify incidents. So please perhaps talk to one of the essential entities, to your colleagues, and you will find out that our first priority is and remains to provide help. That's the first question you get when you notify an incident. And even though when you go a little bit further into the incident and an inspection team would ask you some questions, I want to point out that our first task is to inform, to give you more explanation about what the regulatory requirements are, and ask you to provide remediation. And what we are seeing today is that this is working quite well. This is a good collaboration, and contrary to popular belief, we have received thanks after the first inspection. So this shows that this also is an inspection which is more on a collaborative way, and until now, we never got into the arguments about whether this or another decision would be right. And there is, at the moment, no sanctioning procedure started yet, which I already said before NIS2 law came into force, that this would be my hope, that we would not need to use this. This is a little bit an overview, fragmented overview of how we see the NIS implementation going on in Belgium. But let's dive into Cyfern 2025, and I'm more than happy to hand over to the man who did all the hard work behind the scenes to make Cyfern 2025 happen. And he will present you also the new logo of Cyfern 2025. Please, Dirk, take the stage.
Thank you, Johan. Good morning, all. I'm very proud to present you Cyber Fundamentals 2025. Cyber Fundamentals was once written in the summer of 2022, and it grew today to a framework that is not only recognized in Belgium, but also seen in other European countries, which is quite important. Now, the Cyber Fundamentals architecture in 2025 version stays, of course, the same as the architecture we knew already in the 2023 version. So you have the Cyber Basic, Important, and Essential. You will have the requirements, and you will have an implementing guidance for every requirement, which is much more extended than the previous 2023 version. Important in all this thing is that the proportionality still stays the same. The principle of balance is very important for the small entities, the more important entities, and especially the essential entities. But the definition stays, of course, the same. You have basic, which is the typical standard security measures for all enterprises, important where you have much more skilled actors. But then you have, of course, also essential, where the actors that are operating in that scene are having extensive skills and resources, sometimes state-funded. We are focusing, like in the 2023 version, on the real cyber attacks. And we know exactly, as CCB, what the real cyber attacks are, so we translated those in the key measures. And like the 2023 version, we still maintain the maturity level verification. And you see there the different thresholds we are using. They still stay the same. There's nothing changing there. Now, again, so Cyber Fundamentals 2025 isn't changing the Cyber Fundamentals architecture. So the architecture still stays the same. You have Cyber Fundamentals Basic, you have Important and Essential. You will have requirements, of course, at every assurance level, like the way we did before. You have also an implementing guidance that is much more extended than the Cyber Fundamentals 2023 version. Now, the proportionality and the principle of balance, as I said, are quite important. As I explained before, you have basic, important, and essential, going from the standard security measures to the really extensive, skilled actors that have much more resources operating in an essential area. Then you have the focus on the real cyber attacks. The real cyber attacks we know as a CCP that are translated into key measures. And then you have the verification through maturity levels that is still happening in the 2025 version. You see that the thresholds didn't change since we are not changing that much. The Cyber Fundamentals in the meantime became a real ecosystem. A real ecosystem meaning you still have the booklets. The booklets will be downloadable, and as I speak, Cyber 2025 is available on the website, so you can download the booklets. There is a mapping, which is still upcoming, so I'm working on that. It will be finalized soon. The siphon selection tool, so that's the tool that we are using to determine what level you would have as a siphon, is available as before. It's a national tool that's quite important. It's a tool only applicable for Belgium. Then you have the key of the whole Cyber Fundamentals framework. That's the Cyber Fundamentals self-assessment tool. And we also happen to support you as much as possible by providing you the policy templates that already are usable as from the basic level. We have a whole labeling system, the Cyber Fundamentals labels, as you see there, the 3 shields. There is a whole process where you have to follow. What exactly you have to do to obtain such a label is explained in our frequent asked questions. And quite important is the Cyber Fundamentals framework is not only a framework as, like, for example, NIS-CSF, but it's also having a conformity assessment scheme for conformity assessment bodies under accreditation. So that means that we can provide you verifications and certifications under accreditation today. The whole toolbox, so the whole set that you are seeing here is available publicly on siphon.eu or siphon.be. Now, in figures, the basic, we still have 34 controls as before. We have 99 specific controls for important that gives you a total set of controls of 133. And we have 85 specific controls for essential that brings the total set of controls to 218. So the whole framework only has 218 controls. What do I mean with specific controls? That are controls that are different from the previous level. So specific controls for important are specifically adding up on the basic set of controls. As before, we used NIS-CSF ISO 27001, the 62443 IC, and the SIS controls, but quite important here, and you see it there in the right upper corner, that govern is also added. That means that Cyber Fundamentals 2025 is using NIS-CSF 2.0, so the last version. Now, what is new? As I said, it is aligned with NIS-CSF 2.0 and EU regulations and legislation as appropriate. For example, NIS2. It's updated for the latest cyber and information security trends. We used the feedback we got on Cyber Fundamentals 2023. There is a much more stronger focus on supply chain and OT security. The controls are clearer, more auditable, and for every control, there is also a goal added to make it as clear as possible, because that was something that we saw in the 2023 version. People are still having questions. So what does this really mean? And as again, Cyber Fundamentals is written specifically to be very, very clear for everybody. We also introduced governance measures, and of course, we improved readability and some editorial issues. Now, what are governance measures that are not exactly the same as is meant in the CSF 2.0? Governance for us is really supporting the important and essential entities where governance is quite important for them to have, to maintain the whole framework. Now, the governance measures are not that new. They existed already before, but they were hidden a little bit in the conformity assessment scheme. So I brought them directly in the scheme themselves. For auditors, it's much more easy to audit. And we again used NIS2 and the 27001 to really add the things that are helping, and also make the, let's say, the link between the different frameworks and standards. Now, important and essential entities have to prove their effective cybersecurity management, and that's something which is also foreseen in NIS2. A clear roadmap is provided by Cypher, roles, policies, risk management, supplier collaboration, etc. So that's really going into that mode. Now, if we make the comparison with the 2023 version, you see we have one requirement less. But that means also that the whole set of requirements is really staying quite the same. You see there is a little shift from important to essential, but let's say that the whole framework is quite similar in the number of requirements. That makes that clear. It doesn't mean that the requirements are exactly the same. No, they changed. But you see there the shift to essential, where you see a little drop in important, but it's pretty the same. It's pretty the same weight. So that's very, very short what Cyber Fundamentals 2025 is. You can visit our website. As I speak, the whole Cyber Fundamentals framework is live. And I'm very happy to give the word now to Oya for the next topic to discuss. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Do you see my screen? First questions first. Yes, thank you so much. So I am Oyatanil, excited today. It is my first attending to connect and share events as a speaker. Before I was in the fan club. So I joined the NCCA, CCB, as inspector in September. And today I am going to talk about incident handling after 1 year of NIS2. So what do we have in the agenda today? I will first present the NCCA, National Cybersecurity Certification Authority. Then I will explain our incident follow-up process. We will see some figures as well from last year. Finally, I will share also some tips and best practices. So, inspection team, the NCCA, I will start with NCCA. First, I guess everybody knows the CCB here today, at least I hope so. But you maybe don't know yet the inspection team. So as I said, the inspection team is a part of NCCA. I will point also with laser pointer, maybe you, yes. So NCCA in the middle, inspection policies with other CCB services you see, cyber threat research and intelligence sharing, CITRES, CERT, cyber emergency response team, and National Cybersecurity Coordination Center. You don't see it right now, yes, here, NCCB, with other services like management services, supporting services, customer services as well. So the core missions of the NCCA are we collaborate with stakeholders regarding certification of ICT products, services, and processes under European cybersecurity certification schemes. We supervise and accredit conformity assessment bodies. We also handle complaints, ensure integrity of certification processes. We oversee compliance of essential and important NIS2 entities, including also incident reporting obligations. And we can impose administrative measures or fines, and we coordinate with sectoral and EU authorities to ensure consistent enforcement. The missions you see in bold are the ones that have been assigned by NIS2. And of course, by the way, I almost forgot. Happy birthday, NIS2. It's important. Yep. The inspection team. Now let's take a closer look. We remain impartial, independent, and free of conflicts of interest, of course. We collaborate with other authorities, sectoral authorities, or other member state authorities. We use a risk-based approach to plan and prioritize supervision as well. We act with strict confidentiality. For example, we cannot give public information over specific incident cases. And regarding incident follow-up process. So you are already aware that NIS2 entities have reporting obligations. I will take again my laser pointer. So if we have a significant incident, we must notify as a NIS2 entity within 24 hours after the detection, and then 72 hours notification, then a final report in 30 days. So the verification of the registration is also carried out that time. We have already informed approximately 10 entities for registration error remediation. As Johan mentioned, information is really our core mission. So we ask for remediation if we remark some errors as well. Once we receive the notifications, we can request for information. And depending on available information, we can initiate on-site or off-site inspections. For now, we have 2 cases for off-site inspection, 5 on-site inspection case plans, 1 remediation infraction ongoing, and no case of sanctioning, yay. And we close simply the incidents. It happens a lot also. We handled 66 cases in which we analyzed the reports or requested additional information until now. And also important to mention, site and site risk provide help also during the notification period. And we can also help to determine if the incident is significant or not. We also upscale or downscale, but I will talk about it afterwards. So now we will see the retrospective and landscape from the NCCA. Between October 2024 and September 2025, NIS2 entities reported 279 incidents, and 70 of them were significant. We have still 7 incidents on the review to determine if it's significant incident or not, and 202 significant incidents were not significant. On a sectoral basis, we see that public sector is the lead for reporting significant incidents, followed by digital infrastructure and ICT service management, healthcare. I will maybe take again my pointer. Healthcare, transport, ICT service, and it was a little bit less for energy sector, digital providers, production, and research was only 1 for the periods. Little disclaimer maybe here, if an entity is in the scope of NIS2 for different sectors, the significant incident can be significant for different sectors. In other words, we can have 1 significant notification multiple times in different sectors. But we can talk about it in breakout rooms as well. What have we learned from the first year of NIS2? Significant or not? I'm not sure why, but I can picture you smiling. If the incident has caused important operational disruptions on the networks, on information systems on which the entity depends, or we have also financial loss, material or non-material damage. In those cases, we have a significant incident. But we have received some multiple questions about the service interruption criterion. What does it mean exactly? But if the incident affects only my supplier and not my organization? So let me give you some explanations. First of all, whether the incident is cyber or non-cyber, it can have an impact on organization services. We are talking about events compromising availability, authenticity, integrity, or confidentiality of data or services. So it is important to evaluate the impact on entities' essential or important services, but also, I would say, the impact on its clients. If an incident at the supplier causes availability problems within the entity's critical services, it might also be significant. Another question we received as well, it was about maintenance in organizations. So if a maintenance period causes longer than expected interruptions of services, it may also constitute a significant incident. And deploying teams at night for backup installation can also be a financial loss. But if you have any specific questions on this matter, I will be happy to answer in the breakout rooms. If you still have doubts, please notify us anyway, whether it's voluntary or significant, because we are here to help you and we can determine together if it's significant or not. And our contact center will get in touch with you. And as I mentioned, we can also upscale or downscale an incident during the follow-up period. So no worries, we are here to help. So tips for incident handling. Don't forget documentation, including communication plan, incident handling procedure. Have a risk-based approach, and it can also help to evaluate properly the impact of an incident. Pay attention to supply chain management, who is responsible for which aspect, and test implemented processes or procedures. You can always take a look at our tools or resources on SafeOnWeb. So before talking about best practices, let's see together the types of significant incidents handled. Non-cyber, as I mentioned, non-cyber can also be significant, and we had 24 non-cyber significant incidents. Then we had 21 ransomware incidents. For ransomware, it's sometimes initiated only with a phishing mail, so don't forget awareness, please. Then we see system compromise, account compromise, denial of service, malware, intrusion attempts, data leak, and vulnerable service. So best practices, backups. Backups ensure data can be restored quickly after an incident and minimize also downtime and data loss, so it's important. Monitoring and detection enable early notification of suspicious activity to respond before major damage occurs. And patching is also crucial because it fixes known vulnerabilities and it also prevents some other incidents. Principle of least privilege also limits user access to only what's necessary. If we have some GDPR experts here, it's like data minimization. So yeah. Last but not least, fasten your seatbelt. Multi-factor authentication. It's an extra security layer to prevent unauthorized access, even if credentials are compromised in some cases. but it's important. And I first saw this reference on Johan's LinkedIn. He shares some super cyber tips. So just for your information. Key takeaways from today. Please don't forget to report on time. Enable MFA wherever possible, and we are here to help you. So thank you so much. This concludes my presentation for today. Thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to answer your questions in breakout rooms.